Today, you're going to learn to code with AI. We're going to do it step by step with no steps skipped. With AI, you can make anything from entire websites, a game that makes $87,000 per month, or a simple meditation app. And that's what we're going to be building today. But obviously, you can make whatever you want. Today, you're going to learn 4 things. How to download the AI tool that's going to help you code, how to make your own graphics, how to code with AI, and how to upload it to the internet with your own domain name. If you're ready, let's begin. The first thing that we're going to do is download the AI tool that's going to help us code. So all we have to do is open up a browser and go to cursor.com. That's cursor.com and press enter. Cursor is a free AI coding tool, one of the best, if not the best, in the world. It works for Mac or PC, so all we have to do is click download for Mac or PC, and then we wait for it to download, and we can just click on it and just install it like you would install any other application. We're just going to click, hold, and drag it to the applications for Mac and install it like regular. And if you're wondering about the pricing is free to use for a little while, or you can get a lot more access for $20 a month. Next, we can open up something like chatgpt.com and say something like, can you make me an image of an award-winning meditation app? And it spit out something pretty cool. Let's look at this. This is looking pretty nice. I didn't want it to be a phone app, but this is looking really great. I really like the background on this, and this is something that I think that we can use. So I said, I like this. Please remove the award-winning and make it for desktop. I like the sun and the peacefulness. Let's have options to choose from 5, 10, and 20 minutes. Get rid of the daily calm and stress relief. And a few minutes later, it made this. This looks really good. It's cut off on the side. I'm not really sure why ChatGPT does that sometimes, but this is pretty good. But I wanted to make it more like the Apple Watch Breathe meditation. I don't know if you've seen that. You can see it on the Apple Watch here. It's super cool. So I said, can you make it more like Apple Watch Breathe animation? And you don't need the begin, just if they click on any of the times, it will begin. So it researched what the breathe animation is, which is kind of cool. And it's this thing right here. And then it asked me, would you like me to run through the image generator to produce a new desktop UI version incorporating these nuances? And I say yes. All right, then it asked me if it wants me to generate the image, and yes, generate the image. Come on now. So it generates this, which I think is pretty perfect right here. I really like this. Maybe we can make it a little bit better, but I think this is looking really good. I say this is good, but it's cut off. And then it still doesn't work, still cut off. I think maybe we'll just fix it in an image editing software. Then I say, can you make it have a black background? I wanted the whole screen to be black right there, but it didn't really work. And maybe that was a bad idea. I was just trying to simplify it and making the whole background black, but it made this weird black background over here, which is not what I meant. Then I just went back and forth with it for a little while and tried out some other colors, but it didn't really work. And this was my favorite one, so we're just going to download it, and let's download it, and let's open it up in Canva and try to remove everything except for the background. You'll see why in just a second, but basically I just want to put the breathing flower on top of everything, and the 5 and 10 and 20 minutes are going to be real timers, so all I really need is just the background. So let's see if I can go ahead and isolate the background. Let's go to canva.com, and let's go ahead and let's open up. So let's press create, and then custom size, and let's do 2000 by 1000. That will give us a nice wide background. You don't want to go too much wider than that because the image will be too large. And let's create a new design. All right, let's click, hold, and drag that design in there. And let's make it bigger. Let's crop it a little bit over here. And let's make it bigger. And let's just keep on going, making it bigger. And that looks pretty cool. And now we need to get rid of this flower because we're going to have this flower animating. It's not going to be a part of our background. So I'm going to click on edit, and then I'm going to use the magic erase and see if it's really magical or if it sucks. So let's go ahead and erase all of this right here. Erasey, 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 and press erase. And that did a terrible job. Let's erase a little bit more, see if we can get it working. Erase all of this, and the magic eraser sucks. It kind of looks like a blob of just crap, so that's not good. We're going to need to maybe find a different way to erase this. So this is not very good. maybe we can go back and let me actually try to share this. And let's share it and let's download it and let's feed it back into ChatGPT. So we can just go ahead and download this right here. Wait for it to download. And now that it's downloaded, let's click, hold, and drag it back into the prompt. And let's ask it to make the image like this, but even better. I don't know what that means, but maybe the AI does. And we wait. It takes a little bit of time for ChatGPT to make the images, so I'm just going to speed this up. And bam, it made it. So that's pretty cool. Now I want to show a version with some more soothing blues, just to see if we can make it even better. And I don't really like that. It still looks smudged and weird, actually. I like this one a lot better. So let's just use this one. Let's see. So basically the flower is removed because the breathing flower is going to be what is animated and that can't be an image. Let's download this right here and let's put it back into Canva. So let's click, hold, and drag it into Canva and let's expand it. Let's make it bigger. And let's center it and let's see if their AI works one more time. I don't really like this mountain. I think it's a little too sharp. So let's edit this right here. I want it to be a little bit more smooth. Let's go to the magic eraser one more time. And let's just erase it a little bit and make it smoother. That made it more sharp. Let's try again. No. Let's make the brush size smaller. Nope. This is not working. It's just getting worse. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to let that be. That's good enough. And let's actually go to Magic Expand so we can expand this image. Hopefully some of Canva's AI works. And let's go ahead and expand this right here. Let's just do the whole page and press expand. Now it's expanding. Takes a little while to expand. And that looks pretty good actually. All right, so they wanted something, so that's pretty good. I like it. And let's adjust it a little bit. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and share it so that we can just download the image. And let's download the PNG. That should be pretty good, I think. Maybe that might be too big. And now it's downloaded. It's 1.4 megabytes, which is kind of big. That's a little too big, actually. Let's go and download it again. Let's download the JPEG. And let's download it and let's see how big this is. We don't want it to be big because then the website will load slowly. All right, we can click, hold, and drag that to our desktop. And let's minimize this and go to our desktop. And now that this is on our desktop, let's add a new folder. We want everything and all the code to be organized. So let's add a new folder and let's call this meditation. So we can drag that image into there so it's inside of that folder. And we can even make a new folder called images just so everything is organized. And let's change this to background because it's going to be our background image, and click, hold, and drag that into our images folder. Now all of our images can go into the images folder and all of our code can go into this main folder right here. So let's minimize this and let's finally open up Cursor, and we're going to open up a new project. So just click on open project, and our project is on our desktop and it's the meditation folder right here. And then press open. And now we're inside of that folder, and whenever it writes code, it's going to write code inside of that folder. So what do we want? We can open up this and we can see that we want it to pretty much be like this. We want it to be like a breathing flower that people can follow along, and we want different timers. So how do we add that? Let's download that for some inspiration, and let's actually feed this image into the prompt. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of it right here. And I'm going to go back to cursor and I'm going to take that screenshot and I'm just going to drag it in. So now we have this image and the AI can view images and make it just like that. So I'm going to say I want to create a meditation app in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I want to do it in these languages because it's super easy for your computer to run HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And it can be run in any of your browsers like Safari, Chrome, Internet Explorer, anything. Then I put the web app should work like the Apple Watch Breathe app, where there's a growing flower that expands as you breathe in and gets smaller as you breathe out. The app should be super simple with 5, 10, and 20-minute timer. For the background, you can use background.jpg. That's the image that we created in ChatGPT and Canva. And the background image is in the images folder. All right, so let's ask it to do that. And while we're doing that, we can go to settings. And I know you can't see it right here, but we went to settings and we could go to models to see what AI models we're using. It really does matter what AI model you use. And the best AI model to use is Claude for Sonnet currently. GPT-5 is good, but not amazing. The one with the brains next to it is the thinking models. So we can just turn on or off that. Let's turn on that for Claude for Sonnet. And let's turn off Claude 3.5. And we can try ChatGPT 5 if we want. Maybe for the easier tasks for Claude 3.5, we'll keep it. All right, let's go ahead and exit out of there. And we just wait a little while. And it says it's done. So we can read through all of this. Or what we can do is just press keep all. And let's go check it out. So press keep all. What you want to do is minimize all of this. And then it created these new files, index, script, and style. And all we have to do is click on the index and we see we have a meditation app. It looks a little bit crazy, especially this growing flower. Let's see if it works. Let's do 5 minutes, start. And it does sort of work, but it looks a little bit crazy. And I don't really love this app-like overlay, and maybe the breathe out is too much. Maybe the timer is too much. I want it to be super simple. It's pretty cool though. It made the background really good, I think. And I think that's pretty cool. The 10-minute works. It may be something we can do for the animated flower is we can give it some examples online. So maybe that would really help. I think if we look for Apple Watch Breathe animation, CSS, that will allow us to find some inspiration. Maybe someone has created something. Yes, something. Yep, someone has created this right here. And so let's just drop in the URL and tell it to make it like this. So this is from CSS Tricks. Thank you, CSS Tricks. Let's go ahead and tell it to make it better. I'm going to say this looks really good. We don't need the overlay on top of the background. We just need the 5, 10, and 20 minutes. I like the glass effect with the buttons. We also don't need a start button. If we click on one of the 5, 10, or 20-minute buttons, it should start automatically. For breathing, people breathe in and out for more than 2 seconds, so please extend it. Redo the flower because it doesn't look right. Take inspiration from this website. And then I put in the CSS Tricks website, and let's see if it's smart enough. All right, let's submit that, and let's let it think for a little while. All right, it says it updated. Let's go ahead and keep all, and let's open this up again. And bam, that's looking kind of cool, a lot better. I'm not sure why it's white, but that's looking pretty sweet actually. I really like that. And let's try to get it not to be white. So this is a great start. The CSS Tricks website. Breathing flower has much better colors. It is also smaller and grows a little larger. But I do like how it grows and the easing, basically, that it gets slower as it gets bigger. And let's see if we can make it better. We also don't need the breathe in and breathe out. I think that just clutters the interface. And for some reason, we have this cursor right here that has this circle and the line through it, like we can't click on it. That's weird. So I'll explain that When I hover over the 5, 10, and 20 minutes, my mouse pointer turns into a circle with a line, indicating that I can't click. Maybe instead the countdown timer being on screen, it can show that in the title of the website. All right, it says it worked. Let's go ahead and keep all. And let's launch the site and refresh. And now, oh, I like how small it is. And then it grows bigger. But I don't really like that it's all white. Why is it all white? That's so weird. And the buttons don't work right here. And maybe the timer's annoying too, actually. So I'm going to say great. A lot of it works. The color of the flower is still pure white for some reason. I was hoping it could be more like CSS Tricks website. When I click on the timer buttons, they don't do anything. I'm also going to say the timer is still on the screen, which is not what I wanted, but it has moved to the title, which is great. So it's so right now it's in the title, but let's remove it from the screen. See what it does. All right, the moment of truth. Let's refresh, and it did change colors, but the colors are kind of ugly. And it did remove the timer from the screen, and you can see the timer up here. So that's pretty cool. The 5, 10, and 20 minutes don't work, which is annoying, but we're getting closer. Let's go back to the CSS Tricks website. And this is looking much better. Let's see the final version. That is looking really cool. Let's just copy all of this CSS here. We don't need to understand it. We just need to know that we can copy it. And let's open this, and let's say the timer buttons still do not work. Maybe it's because a timer is already started. So maybe they prevent a timer from being clicked if a timer is already started. It should work even if a timer is already started. The flower still looks strange because one of the circles is just over all of the other ones. Maybe let's use this, and I just pasted in the CSS Tricks one. Let's also move the timer buttons closer to the bottom. They're a little bit too close, I think. And let's see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and refresh, and it's white again, which is so annoying. But the timer buttons also are not working. Damn. All right, let's minimize this. Maybe we're using the wrong thinking mode. Let's use Sonnet 4. Let's try that. Claude Sonnet 4. Maybe it chose ChatGPT 5, which isn't very good right now. All right, now the flowers are all white again. Make it go smaller and expand it to larger. And the timer buttons do not work. I'll put breathing flower here. Is all white again. And let's see if Claude 4 Sonnet can make it work. All right, let's keep all of that right here. And let's minimize this. And open this. Oh, that's what we needed to do. We need to use Claude Sonnet 4 and not let it just pick whatever it wanted. It's probably using ChatGPT 5, which isn't very good at coding. Let's see if the 10-minute works. Yes, the 10-minute works. The 20-minute works. Oh, okay. So if you choose something and then try to choose another one, it won't work, which is not what I want. But that is looking really cool. I'm liking that. All right. We're getting somewhere. Yep, it's looking exactly like the CSS Tricks. That's really good. Maybe the flower is a little bit fast. I think we should try to breathe a little bit slower, but this is looking awesome. Let's open up cursor and give it a couple of more things. Right, the timers don't work if they're clicked on already, which is dumb. People should be able to click on another timer if they want to. Another cool thing that we can do is we can go over and click on this agent right here and click on ask, and we can ask it a question. How fast is the breathing in and out? 2 seconds for breathing in, 2 seconds for breathing out. Okay, so that's not. And then it says this is actually quite fast for meditation breathing. Most meditation practices recommend 4 to 6 seconds inhale, 4 to 6 seconds exhale. Yeah, I think I want like 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. because you can breathe up for 4 seconds and then hold it a little bit and then breathe down. Now I'm going to go back to agent and I'm going to ask it something. But before that, let's go to Google and say, what's the best breathing technique for relaxation? I think it's 6 in, 6 out. And of course, they're not going to tell me anything that great. I'm pretty sure it's 6 in, 6 out. Let's see how fast is the Apple breathe frequency. Do they even know that? I doubt it. 4 and 10 breaths per minute. 7 breaths per minute. So what's 7 breaths per minute? That is, if it's 6 in, 6 out, that's 5 breaths per minute, right? 12 seconds. Yeah, let's do that. Let's breathe slower. I guess you can somehow configure it. I've never seen this before though. All right, I'm just gonna make a decision and say it's 6. Let's do 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out for the breathing rate. People can always hold for a little while. So I think that will work. And when you click on something, you can't click on something else. So we need to fix that. Also, once you click on one timer, let's make it so that if you want, you can click on another timer and it will start. Let's not have it disable the button if you're already on a timer. All right, let's go. That's pretty cool though. We haven't updated, obviously. I'm just waiting for the code to update. And I'm gonna press keep all and let's open this and let's see. This is way too slow. I think someone might choke if it was that slow. That is not 6 seconds. That's 12 seconds at least. Let's see. The 5-minute timer works. Let's see if we click on anything else. That is really, really, really slow. You'll become a yogi if you can breathe like this. 10-minute works. That's super cool. And let's try to change that. It seems to be doing 12 seconds in and 12 seconds out. Can we make the breathing flower orange? Maybe it'll look better orange, like the color of the sun. Everything else is working well. And maybe if we make it orange like a sun, we can take out this orange right here. So let's magic erase this sun right here, and our flower can be our sun. That might be a good idea. Ooh, that one actually worked. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's share that. Let's download it. Let's download it as a JPEG and download it. And let's click, hold, and drag that to our desktop. Minimize this and this. And let's go in the images folder and delete this one. And just click, hold, and drag this one. Let's name this one background.jpg. So it's the same name, so it works perfectly. All right, let's open up Cursor. And it said it did all of this stuff. It opens for 3 seconds expanding and 3 seconds contracting. That's not what I meant either, but it has sun colors and you can switch the timers. And let's go ahead and keep all and let's check it out. So the sun is removed and it's orange like the sun. That's kind of cool. Is it 3 seconds is too quickly. So we can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Nice. And I think I like the blue better actually. So I don't know about that, but this is kind of cool. It's looking really good. I'm going to say this is great. Let's make the orange maybe a little lighter or maybe a tiny see-through. And let's press keep all. And let's refresh this and let's see it. Yeah, I still think I like the blue better. And how slow is this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's good timing actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So the timing is right now. Now I'm going to say let's try some blues now for the flower and let's have it grow larger, but keep the same timings. Let's see if we can get the right blue. I want it to become bigger. Maybe we'll just copy this again. Let's copy this. I don't have faith that this is going to work out, but let's see. All right, let's just keep all of that. And let's refresh. And that looks pretty good actually. And it's pretty big. Nice. Is this one better though? Maybe. That one's pretty nice though too. And wow, it works really well on mobile. I like that. And then I'm going to ask what happens when the timer is done. What does happen when the timer is done? The meditation stops automatically. A gentle bell sounds. The page title updates meditation complete. Timer resets to 0. Cool. All right, let's see what actually happens when the timer is done. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that noise, but there was a noise. It didn't exactly sound like a great meditation noise, but it was pretty cool. And then up here it says meditation complete, which is kind of cool. And I think I just want 2 more changes. On the bottom, I want there to be a progress bar so people can see how long their meditation is lasting without a timer. And then the next thing is let's make the meditation sound a little bit better. It sounds a little bit weird right now, so let's make it better. Let's submit those changes and let's wait for it to update. And now let's see those changes. Let's open it up and refresh and click 5 minutes. Let's see if there's a progress bar. And there is. You can barely see it below right there. Let's make it twice as thick and let's not auto reset the bar after 3 seconds. So at the very end, it wanted to auto reset it. Let's just have it just complete. All right, here it goes, and it's thick, and that looks pretty good. I really like that. It's not as smooth as I would like it to be, but let's see what it sounds like at the very end. And while we're waiting for that, let's just see if we can make it go more smoothly. All right, let's refresh that, and that's looking a little bit better, but it's not super smooth, so I'm going to ask it to make it even more smooth based on like a CSS animation and see if that works better. And the meditation clock is almost done, so let's see what it sounds like. That sounds pretty cool. I kind of like that. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the entire app. Nothing, of course, is going to be perfect. Perfect is the enemy of done. So what I want to do now is I want to launch it and get it on a website. I think it's all about launching. If you don't launch something, then you haven't really made anything. If you don't get feedback from somebody, then it's pointless, I think. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and you don't need to do this because your hosting is going to come with a free domain. So you don't actually need to buy a domain because it comes free. But I'm going to show you how to buy a domain name. But again, you don't need to do this because in the next part, you're going to get a free domain name. So anyways, to buy a domain name, we can go to GoDaddy.com. I don't really love GoDaddy, actually. You might be thinking, why am I using them? I've been using them for so long that I have all my domains on GoDaddy. But they're not necessarily that great. But they do have an affiliate program. So I should probably sign up. But I haven't yet. But anyways, I've just been using them for so long. The prices are kind of high and they have a lot of upsells and stuff, but I don't know. So I'm going to type in the domain I want. Let's say I want meditation vibrations. I think that's pretty cool. And then I'll search for it. And we see that meditation vibrations is taken. Let's go see what that website looks like. And we can see that the website... It's pretty cool, actually. I kind of like these 90s looking websites. This website probably hasn't been updated in 20 years. I like how it's still up, though, and everything. That's kind of cool. All right, so I'll search for something else. Let's search for meditation vibration. I think that'll work. That's pretty good. And I always like to copy and paste in the words because I can't spell. So I double check before getting a domain name. I just like copy and paste like the different words. And yes, I spelled it right. Basically, I don't want to buy a domain name with the wrong spelling or anything like that. All right, let's make it mine for Ascent, but I think they're lying. It's not really Ascent. They want to ask you all of these questions, but it's just for their own marketing. So I don't really like that. They want you to subscribe for many years, but you always have the first right to renew. So I always just do 1 year just in case the project doesn't work out or whatever. I don't want to be locked in for 3 years. So I just do 1 year all the time. And then domain privacy is already included. So I don't think we need this domain privacy right here, the full protection program. So we're going to continue. We're going to try not to buy anything extra, even though they try to trick you. It's kind of annoying. So they asked if we wanted domain privacy, and then it says free domain privacy. It's like, okay, what was the other thing then? That's stupid. All right, and then we're going to say no domain privacy protection. This is why GoDaddy sucks. And I don't want a coming soon site. I don't want to be using GoDaddy at all, really. But what's better? I don't even know what's better. Google domains used to be really good, but then they closed it down. And we don't want professional email. Let's just continue to cart. All right, and then they're probably going to try to trick us again. So let's pay attention. All right, that looks pretty good. And there we go, $12. That's actually a pretty good deal, $12. I think it cost them more than that. So if you can go on GoDaddy, skip all of their scammy stuff and pay $12, I think that's pretty good. So let's just complete the purchase. I already have an account, so I didn't have to put in my credit card or anything. And then we have meditation vibration spelled correctly, I hope. All right, we can press continue. And I hate all this stuff. We don't need to do this. GoDaddy's being annoying again. I don't want to set up a website on GoDaddy. So we're just going to go to GoDaddy.com. And again, I have a whole bunch of domains on GoDaddy. We could just go to domains. No, we go to our account and then my products. And I have a whole bunch of domain names. And there's meditation vibration. We click on it. And if we click on domain, what we need to do is change the DNS. But we can only do that once we have hosting. So the domain is the name of your website, and then hosting is where you store all of the information, all of the files and everything. So there is a super good host that I really like, and that is Hostinger. Everyone recommends it. I think it's the most popular host out there. Let me just minimize this right here. And let's go to hostinger.com. hostinger.com and press enter. And I really do like Hostinger. And let's see if I'm logged in. Good, I'm not. Yeah, I really do like Hostinger. Hostinger makes storing a website online so that anyone can access 24/7 with super fast speed. They make it really easy. I do have an affiliate for Hostinger, and I have a coupon code. So if you go to hostinger.com/unlock, that's UNLOCK. And it says it's WordPress hosting up here, but it's any hosting. So we can scroll down and we can buy hosting. You have to scroll kind of far down, which is kind of weird, but here we can buy hosting. So we have the premium business and cloud startup. You don't need anything other than the premium, the smallest plan. And that's because you can always upgrade later, and you don't need to make 50 websites right now. You don't even need to make 25 websites right now, which is super generous on the premium plan. So just pick the lowest plan and you can always upgrade later. Hostinger also has super great support. They're known for their support. And it says 48 months, which is a long time, 4 years, for $130, which is a pretty good deal. But if you want it to be a little bit less expensive, you can do 12 months. You'd want to do at least 12 months because then you get a free domain name. So you can skip that GoDaddy part. And it comes out to $43 with the coupon code UNLOCK. Please do use that coupon code. I'd really appreciate that. Hostinger is who I use for my websites, as you'll see. All right, so we can press continue, and then it's going to have us register. So you can just put in your email and register. I already have a login, obviously. And then it's going to have us do the billing, like the first name, last name, phone number, address, and zip. Then we can press continue and we can do the payment method. So we can put in our credit card, phone number, expiration date, and CVC. or those little numbers on the back of your card. All right, then we can click on submit payment. And once you do that, you'll be logged into Hostinger like right here. The next thing that we need to do is we need to set up a website. So all we have to do if you want is click on domains, and we can see that we can claim our free domain right here. So you didn't need to do the GoDaddy thing. You could just get your free domain. If you can't think of a domain name right now, that's okay. It'll set you up with a temporary website. So let's just click on websites, and let's click on add website. So we're adding a new website, and instead of WordPress, let's just do custom PHP/HTML website. So this is where we're going to be uploading all of our code to it without installing WordPress or a website builder. But you could install WordPress or website builder and make a website that way, which is also pretty cool. All right, so it's going to ask us what our domain name is. And if we didn't choose a domain name yet, we can say use temporary domain down here, or we can put in a domain name of our choice. I'm going to type in meditation vibration because that's our new domain name. And I'll click on it, and then I'll just press next. Now it's going to set everything up for us, and bam, it's done. But it's going to give us this little warning: your domain isn't connected to your website. And you won't get this if you got the domain from Hostinger. You're only going to get this if you got the domain from somewhere else like GoDaddy. So we need to do one more step, which is connect that GoDaddy domain to your hosting where you store all of the files. So it's pretty easy. All we have to do is open up GoDaddy and put this in the name servers. So let's go ahead and copy this one, and let's open this back up. And let's click on DNS. And let's click on name servers, and we'll just change the name servers right here. This is going to tell GoDaddy that we're hosting on Hostinger. It's going to basically say where our website lives. So that's the first one, and there's a backup one right here. That's the second one. Press save, and now it's saved. So we can press continue, and our request is in progress. Okay, so we can just refresh this, make sure the name servers are actually there by clicking on DNS, I believe, and we can see that it is there. All right, so we can just minimize this, and we can press I've changed the name servers and click finish. All right. It says it could take up to 24 hours, but in my experience, it takes about 20 minutes. So we'll just close this. And it takes 20 minutes because right now your website is spreading across the entire world, letting all the servers know where your website lives. All right, so it says our domain isn't connected to your website, so we just have to wait. So I'm going to take a little walk, and when I come back, hopefully the website will work. But right now it does not. All right, so I'm back, and the website does indeed work. Let's go ahead and refresh this right here, and we can see that the website is working. And if we go to the website by clicking on this button right here, we can see that it now lives on Hostinger. All right, let's exit out of there. And the next thing that we need to do is upload all of those files from our computer to our Hostinger, and they make it super simple to do it. So we can just go to File Manager. And this is another reason why I really like Hostinger, because they just have little details like if you drag and drop all the files, that they'll all work. On other hosts, you have to drag one file at a time, and it's just really annoying. All right, we want to upload it to public HTML. That's where the public is going to be able to see everything. And all we have to do is find our folder on our computer. Hopefully it's on your desktop, and just double click it to open it, and then we just click, hold, and drag all of those files into the public HTML, into right here basically. And bam, it's that easy. So now if we open up a new tab and go to our website, meditation vibration, and press enter, boom, we have something online that we can show our friends, that we can get traffic on. We actually made and produced something. It's a first version of something, but it's something. We can click on 5 minutes and it works. And it's looking really good. The mobile view also looks pretty good, but maybe I don't want these stacked up on top of each other. Maybe I want them all horizontal. That might be an improvement that I could make. And let's actually see what it looks like on the actual phone. So I'm grabbing my phone right now and I'm recording it. Oh, it doesn't look perfect. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like on the actual phone. I don't like how the 5 and 10 and 20 minutes goes below. So yeah, again, maybe we want those to be all horizontal. So let's actually ask it to do it. And this is a good lesson on how to update your app. All you have to do is basically replace all the files. We can say on the phone, the 3 buttons go too far down and I have to scroll. Maybe you can make it so the 3 buttons align horizontally on mobile also. Everything else is good. Okay, so then it does something and we can check the phone again. And we can see that it works, but I don't like how this 10 minutes is on 2 lines and 20 minutes is on 2 lines. That's kind of annoying. So let's change that real quick. So I just said the 5 minutes is on a single line, the 10 and 20 minutes are on 2 lines. Please fix. So it does all the stuff and it fixes it. And that looks really good. All right, so let's open up our meditation folder and let's click, hold, and drag everything to replace that. All right, looking really good. And everything actually works perfectly. I didn't think it worked perfectly because on the phone, it wasn't clearing out the new files. So I had to go incognito mode and open up a new tab, and it finally did clear out the files. But at first I thought it wasn't working because it wasn't clearing out the files properly. So I kept on prompting it saying it's not working. All the buttons are still going below. But I didn't realize on your phone, on Chrome, you have to open up a new incognito tab and then test it again. If anyone knows how to clear a single page and have it reload all the files, please let me know. The only way I could do it was opening up a new tab incognito, which is the privacy tab. So I actually prompted it and asked it a whole bunch of times, but I think the problem was fixed. But I'll show all those prompts right here. I also went to Google and says it's not calculating the viewport height right. The viewport is just like the screen display. And I copied some code and then I pasted it in. And then I realized I needed to open up a new tab in incognito. All right, let's let it run all the way through. And boom, we are done. So congratulations, you've learned how to code a little web app. I hope that you learned a lot. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. I'm Tyler Moore. Thank you so much.